Hajime. Welcome back to Comic-Jutsu. JT McRoberts here with you, producer, writer, illustrator. Today we're going to bring you something a little bit different for the Halloween season by taking a look at one of my absolute favorite horror stories, and that's Uzumaki by the great manga horror artist Junji Ito. So let's get to it. What you see here before you are the collected editions of Uzumaki. Subtitle Spiral into Horror. These were originally serialized in the Japanese manga by Big Comic Spirits from August 1998 to September 1999, and then released in the English adaptations by Viz Media from February 2001 to August 2002. Now, this particular episode of Rarities, in which I like to always bring you a look at something that's a little bit hard to find, we're actually going to focus on the first Japanese collected omnibus, right here. This is the Big Comic Spirits, say that 3 times fast, omnibus, released in 2000, which also included what's considered a lost chapter. So it was first printed and published in this particular collection, although the later English versions did include that lost chapter in the 3rd book. There you go. My initial impressions. Okay, so I was turned on to this series by my girlfriend at the time, who was a big otaku, into cosplay, but she had great taste in manga, and she had a really good way of turning me on to things that I would really like in manga that I may not have known about. And she definitely told me about Uzumaki, and I checked it out and really fell in love with it. Now, I'm I'm particular in all of the things that I read, and that I want my comic books and my films and everything to really kind of have a total package, meaning I want them to have a cool title, I want them to have cool cover artwork, I want them to be original, exciting, all these kinds of things. And when you look at the covers to Uzumaki, they're really nondescript. We just see the protagonist here, Kirie Goshima, on the covers. And if it didn't have Spiral into Horror on here, you would have absolutely no idea that this was any type of horror series. But believe me when I tell you that it absolutely 100% is a great horror series, and it's one of the absolute greatest horror stories that I've ever read or experienced. And like I said earlier, the film adaptation is really solid as well. Definitely recommend that as well. So let's take a look at it. Now, I'm not going to worry so much about the Viz Media collections here, but I do recommend you picking these up. There are some later collected editions of these Viz Media versions that you can pick up, where the whole story is told in one volume. So if you want a good adaptation, you can get those. But because Junji Ito is such a strong visual storyteller and manga artist, the story is pretty much told visually. Like, you don't have to read any of the dialogue. You don't have to be able to read kanji or understand Japanese in order to still experience this book. So here we go. What we have here for Rarities is the 2000 Omnibus. Like I said earlier, and of course with all manga, it starts from the opposite side. Here you see Big Comics Wide, but I believe the translation is supposed to be Big Comic Spirit, but I don't read kanji, so someone that does can correct me on that. Of course, it's in glorious black and white. There's the chapter listings. And here we go. Introduction to Kirie Goshima, who's a high school teenager living in this fictional city of Karuzu-cho. And she and her boyfriend start to discover this curse of the spiral that is afflicting this town. Now these pages are printed in color, actually in the Viz Media collection. I can show you that real quickly since we have that right here. Check that out. There's the color version. Absolutely gorgeous work there. But of course it reads just as well in black and white. And of course the black and white kind of lends itself almost in a way, it lends itself to the gothic atmosphere and that feeling of foreboding and dread that just builds and builds. And that particular tone is what is really necessary when telling a proper horror story, because you have to lay the foundation with characters that are sympathetic, that you care about. Or in American horror films, we either want to see them survive and thrive, or we want to see them die horribly. Here we want to see Kyrie and her boyfriend Suichi Saito to survive. And here we go, the first experience of the spiral. And I could just flip you through every page of this. And here you go. There's a bit of kanji for you, and now you suddenly realize, hey, this is in Japanese. We have the first experience with the spiral where this guy is fascinated by the snail shell. The interesting thing about this is Junji Ito, he did that great thing that all great auteurs and artists do, in that he really put himself into that world, into that mindset where he studied these things, like he studied snail shells and slugs and just every manifestation of the spiral that he possibly could in an attempt to decipher its meaning. And he did it in a horrific way, in that the spiral is often used as a symbol of positivity by the Japanese, and he wanted to subvert that and turn it on its head and make it seem like a symbol of absolute, utter horror and terror. I mean, look at this stuff. This is just great storytelling. You don't even have to know what they're saying. It's just like, something strange is happening. Oh, yeah, I think so. Me too. Just make it up. Boom. See how visual this is? It's fantastic. Absolutely gorgeous draftsmanship. Here we go. The spirals. The curse of the spiral begins. So this collection is really, it's really special to me. Of course, I bought it on the secondary market, but I got it after the initial American versions were almost all but sold out and hard to find. So I was really happy to find this original omnibus collection that that features the lost chapter. Look at this stuff. The spiraling tongue. Just the curse of the spiral. So amazing. This is such a brilliant work. Of course, obviously, there are going to be spoilers if you've never read this, as I'm just, at the moment, I'm just flipping through it. But there are so many images that are just so striking and awe-inspiring. And as you will see, are absolutely terrifying. Here we go in terms of building that gothic atmosphere, that feeling of dread and terror. I mean, there's nothing cheesy about this. There's nothing cheated. Everything is earned. Oh my God. Here he's cutting off his the pads of his fingers to get rid of the spirals on his fingerprints. You know, I mean, this is real terror. This is, you know, Clive Barker, Stephen King level stuff. This is masterful stuff. Centipede going to his ear. Just absolutely horrifying. So Suichi starts to go crazy, and he, in doing so, he becomes kind of connected to the spiral. He gets to where he's kind of on that wavelength, and he can kind of sense when the spiral curses are going to kind of manifest. But it winds up affecting his family. It affects, of course, the town and everyone that they know. And, you know, no one knows why. And you're carried through this story with it. This is just a really striking image. You're just carried through this story with Kyrie and Suichi as a as an observer. Look at that. I mean, gosh, the mind that can create this type of imagery. This is why, you know, as storytellers and artists and creative individuals ourselves, it's so important to expose yourself to just the widest variety of art, just from every corner of the world, whether it's American, Canadian, Mexican, Chinese, Japanese, Italian, what have you, just to so you can discover these real gems like this that are absolute classics. And in the case of this, we're talking a real masterpiece. This is the real, true masterwork of the great Junji Ito. Man, look at these. Some of this stuff, it's like, how can you even draw this? I'm almost literally flipping this page by page. I didn't want to go through and just like mark a few pages. I just thought, you know what, we'll just go through it. We'll see what pops out at us. I mean, it's just so fantastical, so awe-inspiring. And as you read it, it is so absolutely horrifying. Oh, look at this. Turning into the slug with the spiral. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, I'm going to say that a whole lot. This is beautiful. That's amazing. Here's another spiral. Charred corpse. Whew. Man, that's hard stuff to draw. I wonder what he was referencing for this. For my fellow artists out there. And then look at this stuff. No doubt he was looking at like plant life or slugs or, you know, some kind of slimy, creepy, crawly. The curse of the spiral continues. Oh yeah, this sequence in the hospital is one of the absolute craziest. I don't want to ruin all of the great moments, so let me just flip a little bit further through it. Just popping in and out here and there, showing you some things. See the spiral turning into the slug, getting the shell on his back. Here, this is the point where they've had to cut Kyrie's hair because it started to curl and spiral and drive people insane. Spiral into horror. That it absolutely is. Just every kind of spiral that you can think of. I mean, it's almost mystical in a way. It's almost a form of magic, of horror magic. Like, Junji Ito really just tapped into something in this. And that's what's really admirable about his work, is that you can feel that it's lived in. You can feel that it's thought out. You can feel, as they say in Videodrome, that it has a philosophy. That is what makes it dangerous, Max. If you don't know Max Wren and Videodrome and what I'm quoting, then you need to check that out as well. Look at this. Absolutely fantastic. So, for fans of horror, highly recommended. For fans of fantasy, highly recommended. For fans of manga, you probably already know about it. But if you don't, check it out. This is the lost chapter here. I think it's called Spiral Galaxy. In these last few pages. And this is what was first published in this omnibus collection. There you go. And then all of this stuff, which I guess are other manga stories, but I don't read kanji, but for those of you that do, there you go. Enjoy. And there you can see in the back, year 2000, the omnibus. And that, my friends, is today's Rarities, Uzumaki, by the great Junji Ito. So if you want just one of the greatest horror stories ever made, ever told, this is one to get, to check out, to experience, to live, to terrify oneself. So there you go. Thanks for watching, friends. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends about this channel, please. So as I produce these videos, they'll get more views and it will work to all of our benefits. And I'll keep making videos and hopefully give you better content as we continue down the road towards producing my graphic novel, which you can then all purchase. In the meantime, enjoy your Halloween